are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, number 248 of the College Loop Podcast. I'm Dylan Larck, on Twitter, here to talk to you about the latest in Auburn football news because Cal is coming back into town. Or I guess not really coming back in the town, but Auburn is completing their home series with the Cal Golden Bears this Saturday. Last year was able to take down Cal due to a game-winning touchdown from Peyton Thorne to Rivaldo Fairweather. A game last year that was very reliant on both these defenses being really good, but also the offenses being very lackluster. Last week for Cal, they actually took on FCS opponent UC Davis in a game that was extremely close. It was final score was 31-13. UC Davis was able to lock down Cal's run game. They had 102 yards on the ground. UC Davis was able to pass the ball very well, but had 3 interceptions thrown. I think that kind of changes with a more improved opponent in the Auburn Tigers. Just overall, I'm not too high on Cal this year. So just kind of getting into that, Jay Knott is one of the best running backs in college football. Jay Knott last week only had rushed the ball for 14 times for 49 yards, had 3.5 yards per carry, had 2 touchdowns, and is now listed as probable to return for the Auburn game. I think he got a little banged up. I have not fully watched the Cal game, but I've been trying to do as much research on it as possible. But 31-13 is not an impressive win to me against Cal. I've heard that it was pretty close up until the second half, where it seems like things kind of changed for Cal. It was 14-13 at half. So yeah, at one point in this game, UC Davis had the lead. And as the second half came around, Jade Knott, a field goal, and a Naziah Hunter pass or touchdown reception gave them the win over the UC Davis Aggies. Something interesting about Cal, though, is they kind of run a 2-quarterback set. You have a mixture of Fernando Mendoza and Chandler Rogers. So Chandler Rogers is going to be their backup. I think last year he played a lot more. Rogers is going to be more of your dual threat kind of quarterback, and Fernando Mendoza is going to be your passing threat. So kind of getting into those two, Auburn has to scheme for a 2-quarterback system, a scheme that they reluctantly had to use last year for the better part of the season. Auburn's weakness on the defense is the passing game. We saw this against Alabama A&M. Alabama A&M was the Bulldogs were able to kind of dink and dunk around the place, throw some slant routes, throw some very quick routes, to able to kind of slice through the secondary. Auburn's got to be careful with Cal here. I mean, they threw the ball 28 times. Fernando Mendoza, 15 of 22. Very efficient day for him. But Cal is a team that's going to want to run the ball. If Jaden Knott is not ready, you can expect other guys to be behind him, ready to carry the load as much as he does. Chandler Rogers, again, back at quarterback, had 5 carries. Javion Thomas, back at running back, had 6 carries. Another running back had 7 carries. They ran the ball 38 times again. 38 times in one ball game. And I mean, Auburn, the defense is prepared for that. I think the front 7 is very, not very, but it is the best part of this defense. You saw it against Alabama A&M, an FCS team who is very much known for their ability to run the ball. And as Cal comes into town, I don't think this offensive line for Cal is quite ready for Auburn's D line, especially with guys like Keldrick Falk and Jalen McLeod, who like last week won our Player of the Week, but also won probably Player of the Week for Auburn's locker room too, because of the fact he was just everywhere. He was getting through the offensive line. He was getting between the trenches. He was getting to where he needed to be. And if Cal is able to find a way to pass the ball, that's where I'm going to find Auburn getting some trouble. I still think Auburn is the more talented team. I think Auburn has the edge pretty much in every position that I can think of. I just getting into the defense needs to do it is kind of lock down the run game and be prepared for the passing game. I think with Auburn's starting line at the secondary, I think that they're fine. But whenever the depth comes into play, that's where Auburn's going to have some struggles. Kind of moving to the offensive side of the ball for Auburn, Justin Wilcox for Cal's coach is a great defensive play caller. He is one of the best defensive minds in college football, and Auburn's got to get ready for that. Auburn's going to try to run the ball a lot in this game. Auburn is probably going to get into the run game a little bit more, but going to have hints of the passing game that we saw against Alabama A&M. I think that watching what UC Davis did, I mean, they ran the ball 25 times. They passed the ball 48 times. I don't think Auburn will ever be in the category of a run-pass ratio quite like that. But kind of intertwine the passing game with the run game. I think this is a game where you expect to see a lot more of the run game from Auburn. Just kind of the leading tackler for UC Davis was a linebacker, so they were expecting the middle of it, and I clicked the wrong player. My bad. The leading tackler for Cal was Teddy Buchanan for linebacker, so they were expecting the run game too, because that's what happens when the linebacker leaves. Is that most of the plays happen in the middle of the field. I think you're going to see Auburn run the ball a lot in this game. I don't think you're going to see a lot of forverts getting called, or I don't think you're going to see, like Malcolm Simmons very well will have a part in this offense, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of the true freshman guys getting these deep ball targets, except for certain plays. Last week, that was definitely a part of the scheme, was to get these guys kind of open and ready for the season by letting them ball out against an FCS opponent. I don't think that's part of the game plan this week against a Power 4 opponent. And yes, the Power ACC is part of the Power 4 for now, at least. But yeah, I think that Auburn needs to limit the mistakes. Just they didn't make many last week, or they didn't make any. I don't think Auburn did have 2 turnovers late in the game, but that was guys who aren't going to be part of the game plan this week. I mean, very well you could see Bryce Kane still get involved in some way, shape, or form, but I don't think the fumbles are something that the coaching staff is really harping on too much. But some errant throws were made in the ball game. That's why Coach Freeze was coaching up very vividly with Peyton Thorne on the sideline. So I think that Auburn just has to keep mistakes to a minimum, stay true to what your offense looks like, and be prepared for a passing game that can tear up the secondary. Ultimately, I'm not going to pick against Auburn in this game. I think Auburn's going to win this game. I think Auburn starts the season with 2-0. If I had to pick a score for it, I'm probably going to go with Auburn 34. Cal, I'm going to give them 14. I think they're going to get some touchdowns, but I think Auburn ultimately just has the more talent and will able to, do what they do best and put up some points on the board, or at least do what they do best this year, is what it seems like. So yeah, that's my prediction for the Auburn Tigers versus Cal. On the other side of this break, talking about the TCL merch, we will talk about the rest of college football. But before I do that, let me know what your prediction is for Auburn versus Cal. Do you think it's going to be an absolute blowout? Like I've been saying, I've seen 48-7. I've seen like 52-6. I've seen everything under the sun for this game. So let me know what your prediction is for Auburn versus Cal in the comment section below. And when we get back, I'm going to make my predictions because I had a very good prediction week last week. So when we get back, I'll continue that trend on the other side of this ad.
Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your college loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. Plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program.
And of course, first page of the War Report shop, it's gonna be the College Loop hat. Second page is gonna be the College Loop shirt. 5 different colorways, most comfortable shirt you're wearing your entire life. 4 different colorways for the hat. Best hat you're ever gonna wear in your entire life. Now, last week, 8-2. LSU messed me up, and I'm sorry, Virginia Tech. I bet for y'all, but I think Vandy's back in the SEC. They are back. They're going to win the SEC outright. So, going into this week of college football, I picked some games that I think are going to be a little trickier to pick. Ultimately, I think that I should do well again, but some games are a little harder to predict. So starting off with an 11 a.m. kick, Texas, number 3 team in the country, will travel to the Big House of Michigan, the number 10 team in the country. Texas currently a 7.5-point favorite, and I think that you're going to see a covered spread because what I saw from Texas and what I saw from Michigan does not really equal a 7-point loss for Michigan. That equals probably a double-digit loss for Michigan. So I'm going to this game. Texas is going to prove that they're one of the top teams in the country, as well as proving that Michigan is not a top 10 team in the country. Which I guess losing to a top 3 team doesn't really prove that too much. But yeah, with that being said, yeah, I'm picking Texas. One of the better quarterbacks. I say one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Just one of the best wide receiver rooms in the country. One of the best teams. One of the best coaching staffs. List goes on and on and on. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Texas in this game. Now up next, another 11 a.m. kick. Kansas State, number 17 team in the country, is traveling to the Tulane Green Wave in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm gonna pick the away team again. I'm gonna take Kansas State. I think that is the better team. Tulane kind of looked a little rough last week. Kansas State did for a little bit too, but I think the talent is gonna really show with Kansas State. So I'm gonna take the Wildcats in this one. Next game is Baylor at Utah, a 2:30 kick. Utah, number 11 team in the country. I thought this game was going to be a fun one to pick, but apparently, according to the spread, it will not be. Utah's a 15-point favorite. I'm going to take Utah in this game as well. Now, a rivalry game in week 2. Iowa State's traveling number 21, Iowa. The over-under for this game is 35.5. I think it's a little too high. And Iowa is a 30-point favorite. I watched a little bit of the Iowa State game. Yeah, Iowa State, not the team that they were a few years back. Iowa definitely is pretty close to the team they were a year ago. Very strong defense, very bad offense, but Iowa State's offense might be just as bad, and their defense is not just as good. So I'm going to take Iowa, and you know what? I think Iowa might cover that by probably a touchdown or two. I think Iowa State's really bad this year. But, not too high on Iowa State right now. I thought they could be a team to watch out for, but based on how they played last week, yeah, Iowa might take this game and run with it. SEC matchup in week 2. South Carolina is traveling to Lexington, Kentucky, to take on the Wildcats. Kentucky is a 10-point favorite, and this game is going to. I made this list before week 1 actually happened. As soon as that last one ended, I was like, okay, well, SEC matchup week 2. This is gonna be a fun one. Yeah, South Carolina is not good. Old Dominion was almost too much for them. Kentucky shut out Southern Miss, but didn't get to see the whole game from them due to getting canceled. Yeah, this is gonna be another one of those South Carolina games where you're gonna look at, and I Beamer might be put on the hot seat sooner rather than later. I don't know if South Carolina fans are ready to admit that. I don't know if South Carolina's ready to admit that, but I think you're gonna see a very embarrassing loss here for South Carolina. I'm gonna go with the Kentucky Wildcats here. South Carolina's just not good. They're just not good. So yeah, I'm gonna take Kentucky in this game. So I have another fun one that I'm kind of very excited for. So I'm gonna I did the spread. I'm not gonna go with the spread here because the Marshall Thundering Herd are traveling a state over to Lane Stadium to take on Virginia Tech. Going into this game, Virginia Tech is 0-1 with a loss to Vanderbilt. Marshall is 1-0 with a win over I don't even know, Stony Brook. Is that who that is? Yeah, Stony Brook. 45-3 win. This game, I think, could prove me wrong in the Virginia Tech ACC championship talk. I think that you're going to see. I I'm still iffy on what I'm going to say here, but I think I'm going to go Virginia Tech here, and I'm going to say they're not going to cover that spread. I think Marshall's going to give them run for their money, and I think Virginia Tech kind of loses their luster in the ACC. But this is a game I think I could be wrong about. I think Marshall could just walk in and just take down Virginia Tech. It would not surprise me in the slightest. Next game I have on the docket for today, the USF Bulls are traveling to Tuscaloosa to take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Last year, this game was extremely close. This year, Alabama's projected to win by 30.5. I think that Alabama's going to win this game. It would not surprise me in the slightest if they did not cover the spread, because USF last year was really able to lock it down. It'd be funny if they did again. I know their Barstool page has been going crazy about Alabama Hate Week, which how could you not? So yeah, I think that USF could put up a fight early, but I don't think it's going to last too long. I think Alabama's going to take it away, continue their easy 2-game stretch. So yeah, I'm gonna take Alabama in that game. Up next is I don't know if this is not College Game Day. I just realized I was about to say it should be College Game Day, but it's not. Texas and Michigan play this week. Tennessee, number 14 team in the country, is traveling to North Carolina to take on number 24 NC State. Tennessee's 8.5-point favorite, and as they should be. NC State did not look good last week against Western Carolina. It was an embarrassing win for North Carolina State. I think Tennessee looks apart against Chattanooga, but this will tell if they're going to be a competitor in the SEC based on how they win this game. I have Tennessee winning, so I would not surprise me in the slightest if they came out and absolutely demolished NC State. Another fun game to talk about: Colorado is traveling to Nebraska to take on the Nebraska Matt Rules. Dylan Raiola is the starting quarterback for the Nebraska Cornhuskers versus Shadur Sanders. Matt Rule versus Deion Sanders. Nebraska is a 7.5-point favorite. I'm going to take Nebraska here. Colorado looked bad against North Dakota State. They looked terrible against North Dakota State. And whether that's just playing more of the part of North Dakota State looked good, that's beyond me. But they're one of the top teams in the FCS for a reason. But I just don't think Colorado's a good team, and I don't think they will be for the season. Like people were trying to project them to be. I know they were betting favorite to be in the college ball playoff this year. I don't know why people were doing that. That felt like a loss of money. And it's going to be a loss of money because I think Nebraska is going to take down Colorado this week. They're a better team. They actually play like a team overall. So, yeah, I'm going to take Nebraska with the points in that one. And then my last game of the week, the top 25 team, somehow still, Clemson is going to be hosting also South Carolina team, a North Carolina team, and the Appalachian State Mountaineers. Clemson is a 16.5-point favorite, but App State is a team that has been known to do some damage. They took down ETSU last week, 38-10. This game's going to be close. I don't think Clemson covers the spread here. I think Clemson wins the game. I don't think they cover the spread. I think App State keeps it close. Of course, App State is a team that, they are a known giant killer. They are a notorious giant killer, beating Michigan in like 2007, beating Texas A&M last year, almost beating North Carolina a few years ago. I think that if Clemson's not careful, Dabo Swinney might be 0-2 on the year, but I think Clemson still wins. I just don't think it's by a lot. So that's my predictions for the week. So Texas, Kansas State, Utah, Iowa, Kentucky, Virginia Tech close, Alabama, Tennessee, Nebraska, and Clemson close are my predictions. That's going to be a 10-0 week, and I'll finish the first 2 weeks of college football with an 18-2 record. further showing off that I am a great predictor of college football. But that does it for the sum of the College Loop podcast. Follow me, or let me know what your predictions are for these week's games as well. And also don't forget to follow me on Twitter at your boy the Tank at YABOY the Tank. Also on Instagram as well at Dylan Larck at DYLNLARCK. Also check me out right here on the College Loop podcast where you like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out our social medias as well on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, the works. Also all those at the College Loop. And also don't forget to check out the audio version of the show as well on Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and of course Amazon Music. But of course, all being said, thanks for watching this installment of the College Loop Podcast. And as always, War Eagle.